I'm ready.
All right, I just hit the record button. Let's get it going. We have 20, and just as a reminder, we have 20 minutes for this session, and we'll have 5 organizations in total. You're the first one up, and we'd love to hear more about Broward Partnership.
Sure, I can do that for you. Good morning, everybody. I am Tom Campbell. I am the new Chief Executive Officer here at Broward Partnership for the Homeless, but I am not new to the agency. I've been here just over 8 years. My previous role was Chief Operating Officer. All right.
I am going to mute. I'm going to just mute everybody and then unmute you.
Here I am.
All right, we're good now.
No worries. All part of the process, the modern process. Okay, so I do have some slides to share today. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, so let me work that. That's going to be this screen here. Okay, there. Can we see it?
I can see it.
Okay, let me just get my screen adjusted so I know where my controls are. Zoom does a funny thing when you share. Okay, so I'm up here now. All right, so you guys have my slides. All right, so Broward Partnership for the Homeless. This is our mission statement. We are committed to reducing homelessness by promoting independence and self-worth through advocacy, housing, and comprehensive services. And we have done that since February 1st of 1999 when we opened the Central Homeless Assistance Center here in Fort Lauderdale. Over the years, we've grown over time to one of Broward County's, one of South Florida's rather, largest comprehensive provider of homeless services and Broward County's largest provider and now affordable housing developer. We provide some really great services to our clients. We do outreach services for people still living on the street. We operate 2 homeless assistance centers with a total of 500 beds. And we operate a variety of housing programs for people who have exited homelessness and are now living in their own apartments in the community. And we provide rental assistance and case management to make sure that those housing placements stick and that our clients do not go back to homelessness. So starting, and you guys are okay seeing the screen, right? Everybody can see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. I tried doing it earlier with the actual slide presentation and it went all crazy on me, so I'm not sure. I've got to do it this way. So as you can see here, these are, and the photos that you see throughout our presentation are actual photos of our centers and actual photos of our clients. We have a really great pro bono photographer who does some really amazing photography for our clients. And the photos that you see have been used in our annual report. And when the photographer comes in to do these photographs, it is a really great experience for our clients who may not have ever had a true professional photo session done before. And so we do hair, we do dress for success, and we do some coaching, and we get these photographs. And when you see them, you're going to love them because it really is our clients in action. So what you're seeing here is just some photographs of the shelter. We obviously provide 3 meals. And all accommodations, lockers, secure place for people to store their items. We have a computer lab, work from home lab. We've got a clothing room where volunteers can come in and sort everything out and make it look like Macy's, as you see in the photograph there. Basically, we provide everything that our clients need once they get off the streets. So we have just all the host of the essentials, including clothing, food boxes, a food pantry, and household hygiene supplies, all of that, everything that you could possibly need once you get here. And it really starts with our social workers. So we employ a total of 20 case managers between the 2 centers. Every client that comes in works with a social worker case manager to develop a plan. And while they're working with us in shelter, they have goals that they're trying to reach towards that plan to exit homelessness and move into stable housing. Everybody's first goal on their plan is move into stable housing. Most people in our facility will have a goal related to health or mental health. Most of our clients coming in off the streets suffer from really severe health concerns and issues. We see a lot of COPD, a lot of high diabetes, hypertension that have escalated out of control to a point that they are life-threatening at this point because people have not been treated or have not been under care. Our case managers make sure that they work with their treatment plans and that they're doing everything they need to get off the streets and stay off the streets. I just mentioned healthcare. So this is This is our nurse, Edna, who works at our North Homeless Assistance Center. And that's our dentist, Dr. Hoover, at the bottom. We don't provide full primary care here. We work with Broward Health to do that for our clients. All adult clients that come in are immediately referred over to Broward Health for a full health screening and assessment, where they receive a full year of free health care from Broward Health just by virtue of being homeless. So what happens with our centers is we have nurses on staff for our clients, as I mentioned, have a lot of health concerns. Once they go to Broward Health and come back with their treatment plan, for clients that have particularly complicated treatment plans, or for clients who our team assesses that they may not be able to manage their care on their own as they're learning how to not be on the streets anymore, our nurses will meet with those clients, make sure that they're compliant with their treatment plan, and then make sure that they're following up with their appointments in the community. It's important to note that we do provide a lot of services on campus, which is great. We're a one-stop shop for our clients while they're here, but our goal is to get clients connected to community partners. And so for that reason, we partner with all the nonprofits, all the hospital systems, all the behavioral health care programs in the community, because once our clients leave us, they need to be connected to those services to ensure stability. Another part of our healthcare provision is behavioral health. So we have a part-time contracted psychiatrist who does psych evals and medication management for our clients. Approximately 60% of clients coming into the homeless assistance centers have a mental health, substance abuse, or co-occurring disorder. So our provision of behavioral health and mental health substance abuse treatment is vital to our clients and to helping them turn their lives around and stay off the streets. We have two really great therapists who do a number of really awesome interventions through group and individual therapy. We have some really awesome expressive therapy programming that we do where clients can come in and mold with clay or paint. And once they get into that mode, oftentimes they're ready to do something different, to talk about something that they may not have talked about before. And it really helps to open up that treatment programming for them. And that's the photograph you see there. That's Susie. She was our therapist, and she was recently promoted to be the director of program services here at our Central Homeless Assistance Center. So congratulations, Susie. We can't do any of this work without our workforce development department. Clients needing to have income in order to pay rent and to pay for all the living expenses once they get housed. So you'll see some really great photos here that in the top right corner, that's Dr. Herb Brodspees. He's on our board of directors. He comes every week and helps our clients with their resumes. And this is a really vital service for our clients. A lot of them have no clue how to write a resume, and they don't even know that you need to have several different versions of your resume depending on the type of job that you're applying for. And Dr. Brodspees helps them with that. In the bottom, you see Regine. She's one of our job developers. She works with our employers in the community. One of the really great things that Regine and our second job developer, Kristen, does is they do a really thorough workforce readiness assessment of all clients that are deemed employable. And when they go out into the community to try to find employers for our clients, they use the data that they've collected from the assessments to figure out what our current population is talented in. So we may have a bunch of construction workers or a bunch of maintenance people in the shelter at that particular time. That's where they're going to focus their attention in the community. We may have a bunch of people who are skilled in hospitality and retail, and that's the employers that we target. So we really do use our data to try to best serve our clients. And then, of course, supportive housing, I mentioned earlier. We work directly with the Broward County Housing Option Support Solutions Division on several permanent supportive housing programs. You can see the services that are offered there. This is one of the most important things that we do is housing navigation, working with landlords, working with property owners. Many of our clients, because of their histories, have criminal backgrounds. They've got previous evictions. They may have very poor credit. We work with our landlords. They know who we are. And we can get some of our landlords to overlook some of those requirements, knowing that they've got a case manager that they can be working with. If the client is exhibiting some sort of behavior in the community, we can work with them directly, correct those behaviors, and make sure they maintain good tenancy and being a good neighbor. And then, as I mentioned, we are also now into affordable housing, and I'm very proud to show you these photographs of our 7 on 7th affordable housing complex. We are one of the few agencies, you know, the song they paved paradise to build a parking lot. We built paradise on top of a parking lot. So we took our Central Homeless Assistance Center parking lot of about 75 spaces and built 8 stories on that space. And what you see is the result of that. You've got our conference room, our lobby, our interactive library, a rooftop terrace, a fitness room, a beautiful community room, 72 units of affordable housing with rents between $400 and $1,100 per month, centrally located on Sunrise Boulevard and Avenue of the Arts on 3 different bus lines, close to the downtown terminal. It's got everything that clients, our residents could need to live affordably here in Broward County, which is very important. As the cost of housing goes up, and our clients are not seeing, and Broward County is not seeing the commensurate wage rates, having affordable housing for our support staff to live in is vital in Broward County.
That's amazing.
Okay, so that's the elevator speech. Let me go back to my questions. And how do we measure the impact of our services? So we have a really robust database that we use, and several databases, actually. We are a very data-driven organization, as I mentioned earlier. The numbers that you see on the screen showcase some of our larger outcomes. We're grant funded, so we have a lot of outcomes that our grant funders want to see. Approximately 25 to 30% of our clients move into a permanent housing placement from shelter. That's a little above the county's target of 25%, which is a standard number. For all homeless shelters in Broward County. We're roughly at right now about 27% in Pompano and about 26% in Fort Lauderdale. And that is a major success that 25% of our clients are moving into positive housing placements. Talking a little bit about case studies. So we just had our annual gala on Saturday night, and it was our 25th anniversary. I had the pleasure of being able to share a couple of client stories with everybody in the room. One of the really good stories that we shared is a woman named Sophia and her son Eric, and they lost their father figure during COVID. So Sophia lost her partner. Eric lost his father during COVID. Eric is autistic, and Sophia lost everything when she lost her partner, including her home and including everything that she knew. She landed with us eventually. We got her into all the services that she needs. We got her into ABA centers for her son. She learned how to reconnect with her autistic son, who she did not know how to connect with. And we got her into some animal equine assisted therapy programming for grieving. And we got them into their own apartment. And so it was a really rough go for them since 2021. But if you see the video, you'll see that she's happy. She's still got some work to do on her grieving process, but we're working with her on that, and our case managers are working with her. And we're really excited to see Eric and his experience with the horses and the ponies through his grieving process. And that's just one of many stories of the clients that we reach here at our partnership. What sets us apart from other nonprofits in Broward County? Well, we've got a long history in Broward County. I've got the chronology here on the screen for you to look at. Over time, we built our programs and services. In 2019, we were asked to take over the Pompano Beach facility, which effectively doubled the size of the agency. We added a $30 million asset to the agency's bottom line when we built 7 on 7th, and we are looking to do the same thing in Pompano Beach behind our North Homeless Assistance Center with up to 160 units behind there. So we are moving from a homeless provider to an affordable housing developer, and that is what sets us apart from other nonprofits. Our board of directors is stellar. They understand what's happening in the community. They understand what is going on with our clients and what's happening here, and they have decided to set their priorities on developing affordable housing as a direct response to the homelessness crisis and the poverty crisis, quite frankly, in Broward County. Some of the biggest challenges that we face as an organization, clearly, I just talked about the affordable housing crisis. I could go on for hours, and there are many people in the community who could. Rest assured that as we move through the next couple of years, Broward Partnership will be at the forefront of affordable housing development. One thing that I should mention is that our outgoing CEO, Fran Esposito, many of you know her. She has been promoted to a new position by the board called Chief Strategy Officer, and she will be full-time dedicated to developing affordable housing and going through all of the work that it takes to build one of these projects, which is extensive. On the organization's financial health and transparency, the agency has had clean audits for the last 25 years. We have an annual report that's published and is on our website. Information travels from the top down and the down up. So we report everything to our board of directors every month. We have 12 committees of the board of directors that works on various topics and reports up to the full board, and staff keeps board members informed. And so we have a very informed board of directors. I mentioned earlier about our collaborative partnerships. This is a slide from a different presentation, but it kind of shows all of the entities that are involved in a homeless continuum of care. So you'll see the public housing authorities, faith-based organizations, hospitals, you name it, we're involved with it. We are part of the safety net in Broward County, and we are involved with every agency that is part of the safety net. And how can YPO chapter best support and contribute to us? So this is the good stuff, right? This is where it's really at. Join us. Come on down. We've got some really great volunteer opportunities happening down here. The easiest thing to do is a group to come in and serve a meal. That could be breakfast, lunch, or dinner. That would involve helping to prep, cut up the carrots, mash the potatoes, serve up everything on the line, and help get things cleaned up. And in that process, have an interaction with some of our clients, talk to them, see how they're doing, see how their day is going, understand that they're also human beings going through something just like we do occasionally as well. And there's also other things outside of campus. You could organize our clothing room, sort the socks and hang up the clothes, as I mentioned earlier. We've had a couple of YPO volunteer opportunities with us, decorating our campus for the holidays for the kids and for our big holiday events that we do here, taking those decorations back down. And those opportunities happen throughout the year. Once a month, we do kids' birthday parties. You guys could get involved with that, blow up the balloons and party with the kids. That's always a good time. Teaching a positive skill, like our board member Herb Brodsby's come in and teach them financial literacy, how to write a resume, how to do an interview, how to tie a bow tie for those going in for the first time wearing a tie. I know I don't know how to do it, so I could use that service. Or coordinate a collections drive. We can collect toiletries, use or clean clothing, new socks, new underwear, toiletries, household goods, canned goods. Think about the last time you moved into a new place, everything you needed to buy, that's what our clients need to buy, and they have limited resources to buy them. So any of those drives are very helpful. In particular, one of my favorites is the move-in cleaning package, where they get a little bucket and a mop and some cleaning supplies and some Windex. And when they get into that new place, they can just do that once over clean to make sure everything is nice for their first night in their new apartment. But there's lots of opportunities to get involved, and Lorraine is definitely the contact person for that. She has two really great volunteer coordinators that work with her, Isabella and Donna Lee. They work really wonderfully with our community members and really try to tailor whatever skill sets our potential volunteers have in matching something at the centers for what those volunteers can do. And I see that I'm at 17 minutes, so I'm going to stop talking and see if there's any questions or what's next.
That's amazing. This is truly a comprehensive presentation that you provided. I really appreciate it. You answered, 99% of the questions that I had, so that's awesome. A couple of questions I have for you is, right now, what's your biggest challenge that your organization faces, and how are you addressing it?
Oh, absolutely. Like I mentioned before, the biggest challenge is definitely the affordable housing crisis in Broward County, which is being worked on by a lot of different entities: Broward County Human Services Division, the Broward Housing Council, Ralph Stone's shop, the local universities. It is definitely a huge problem in Broward County, and quite frankly, all of South Florida, but Broward County is particularly hard. We will continue to focus on affordable housing development and supporting any agency or company that is in affordable housing development. Our board of directors has a public policy committee. Jerry Gutierrez is on that committee. We're looking to make sure that policies and anything we can do to influence the government or influence our elected leaders in understanding and prioritizing affordable housing, because it doesn't just affect our Partnership for the Homeless, it affects all of us at all levels. And we recognize that, and that's our sole focus right now, is the affordable housing and helping to solve that crisis.
And you're doing some fundraising to raise money to be able to do that?
Oh,
Right now?
absolutely. These are, yes, the affordable housing projects are.
What's the goal? Like right now, where are you at, and what's the goal?
Sure. So we are working on the new project that I mentioned earlier, Aspire 1650. That will be in Pompano Beach behind the North Homeless Assistance Center. That project is going to cost anywhere between $25 and $35 million. So we just received an $850,000 allocation from the federal government through Congresswoman Sheila McCormick's office. That's going to help with some of the design and some of the pre-construction work. And in December or January, we expect the Florida Housing Finance Corporation to publish its request for proposals for a South Florida homelessness specific priority for which we will apply. FHFC typically publishes South Florida every other year. They did not publish this past year, so we're expecting it to come out this year. And when that RFP drops, we'll be ready to apply.
Awesome. And one last question. So if some of our YPO members are out and about in Broward, and we do see someone that looks like they need some help, they're homeless, is there a number or a place that we can direct them to?
Yes, there is a dedicated homeless helpline, and I believe that's on our website, but it's also on Broward County's website. We've got little cards that we could give to you that you can keep in your glove box, and you can hand those out if you feel brave enough to roll down your window and engage with somebody. If not, the homeless helpline is always there. It's 954-563-4357. I can put that in the chat so you can take it down. But again, as I mentioned, it's on the county's website. It's on our website. If they can't remember that number, don't have the card, they can be directed to call 211 of Broward, and 211 operator will give them the homeless helpline or make the transfer directly from there. So it's either the homeless helpline or 211. Probably 211 is going to be easier one to remember.
Awesome. Amazing, Tom. Thank you so much. This is
Thank you.
absolutely incredible. All right. So next on the list is Souls for Souls, Teresa Miller. And I see her on right now. Teresa,
Hi, good
unmute.
morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing?
Great. It's so great to see you. Thank you so much for inviting us to be part of this. I've had the great pleasure of working with Jerry and Jamie and Greg, so it's very nice to be able to meet a larger group, and we're so glad to be here today. I also have some slides to share, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that up.
I love it. A lot of visuals.
Let me start from the beginning here. Okay, so Souls for Souls, we are a national nonprofit organization, and our whole mission is to turn shoes and clothing into opportunity. And we do that through a number of programs. Our whole focus is that when people are lacking the resources to get through today, it's often difficult for them to focus on tomorrow. So we take shoes and clothing donated and gently used shoes and clothing, and we turn them into opportunities for education and employment. And since 2006, we have taken more than 94 million pairs of shoes and pieces of clothing and have helped create opportunities for people across 137 countries, including here in the US and very locally in South Florida. And we do that through a number of our programs. We have a program where we are collecting used shoes from just individuals all over the world. They may drop them off at a DSW or send them through Zappos to us, or collect them in their school or their faith organization or civic organization and send them in to us. And then we take them and we provide them to entrepreneurs in developing countries where they start and grow their own business reselling the shoes, breaking that cycle of poverty within those countries. We were started as a relief organization providing relief after the tsunamis in Southeast Asia and after Hurricane Katrina. And we continue to do a lot of relief work through our For Relief program, where we provide new shoes and new clothing to people experiencing crisis, which frees up some financial resources that they can use for other needs. And the program that I'm talking to you all about today, and what is very local there in South Florida, is our For Every Kid program. And we launched this program in 2020 when a school district came to Souls for Souls and said, hey, we have a student, her name is Lila, and she is showing up to school with one cowboy boot on one foot and one flip-flop on the other foot. She doesn't have proper footwear. She's distracted and can't participate fully in school and recess. She is getting bullied. Can you help? And through that conversation, we learned that there are over 1 million students that are experiencing homelessness here in the United States. And as an organization that has a history of providing shoes and clothing, we thought, this is an area that we can help. We can alleviate one barrier to educational opportunities for students by providing new athletic shoes. So our mission is to provide new, branded, high-quality athletic shoes to the more than 1 million students experiencing homelessness in the United States. And there are over 77,000 students experiencing homelessness in Florida. And the definition of homelessness in the public school system is this is any child who has lacks a stable nighttime residence. So that could mean that they are living in shelters, they could be living in hotels, they could be living on the streets or in somewhere that is really not fit for human beings to be living. They could also be couch surfing, or they could be doubled or tripled up. And our goal is to provide each and every one of them with shoes that fit right and feel good. So through our conversations back in 2020 with the school districts, we learned that 63% of kids who are identified as experiencing homelessness miss school due to improper footwear. And 72% of the districts we talked to said that new shoes were one of the biggest needs that they have right now. They are receiving support and grants for food and hygiene supplies and uniforms. They get federal grants for transportation, but shoes were a big gap. And kids are not participating in sports or extracurricular activities because they don't have proper footwear. So our program is very simple. What we do is we create a partnership with the public school district. Every public school district in the country has what's called a McKinney-Vento program, which is the homeless education program. This program is designed to provide students identified as experiencing homelessness with the support that they need so that they can get a proper education and graduate from school. So we create a partnership with the public school district. We generate community support, and then we measure the impact and make improvements and continue to expand the program as we go along. So how the program works is that for only $20 a pair, Soles for Souls purchases new name brand athletic shoes. So Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, the shoes that kids want to wear that their peers are wearing. And we purchase them from our brand partners. We take them into our warehouse. We sort them by size, by style, by gender. And then we package them and send them out to the McKinney-Vento homeless programs at the local school districts. And then they distribute the shoes on a one-on-one setting with each child who needs a new pair of shoes, keeping the dignity, the agency, the confidence, the privacy of that student at the center of that distribution. So in a school district, a teacher could see that there's a child in the classroom that has, the sole of their shoe is coming apart and they're very distracted and they're hiding their shoes under their desk and they're just really not focused in the classroom. And so they'll reach out to a school social worker to say, hey, I have a student that's in need. That social worker will get one of the pairs of shoes. Oftentimes we'll bring two to the child in a very private setting and say, here's a new pair of shoes, and give the child a choice in what shoes meets their style and personality. So since 2020, we have served over 280,000 students in 46 states, including over 26,000 in Florida. And we're scaling quickly. So for the upcoming school year, the 2024-2025 school year, we want to serve an additional 250,000 students, 20,000 in the state of Florida. And right here on the map, you can see where we have current school district partners. Our goal is by 2031 to be partnered with every school district in the state that has students identified as experiencing homelessness. So this is a great photo of Carol Mitchell. She leads the HEART program at Broward County Public Schools. HEART is the Homeless Education Assistance Resource Team. She is the person that we work most closely with there in Broward County to serve kids experiencing homelessness. Rita Case from Case Automotive, who really started this program in Broward County for Soles for Souls. And this is a photo of them in their shoe closet. So a few times a year, Carol and her team receive thousands of pairs of shoes from Soles for Souls. They come in, they get sorted by size and style and gender, and then the HEART program distributes them to social workers and educators throughout the district throughout the year to give out to the students. And you can see this great quote from Carol about just the importance of the shoes and what a difference they make in the lives of these kids. Important to note that with every pair of shoes we provide, we also provide 1 to 2 pairs of new socks. So if any of you are fans of Bombas, we are the beneficiary of the Buy One, Give One program with Bombas. So these kids are getting not only great pairs of shoes that are just like their peers, but also great quality socks. In terms of generating community support, how this program started in South Florida is that Rita, who we have worked with for years, she has a Boys and Girls Club there that we've been providing shoes and clothing and coats. we shared with her the need and that we were launching this program, and she said, great, I want to be part of it. So she stepped up as the lead funder and founding sponsor there in South Florida and has engaged a ton of community support. These are all organizations, companies, and individuals who are part of our Soul Society. That's our annual giving circle that have provided funding to support students in Broward County and South Florida. And then after we develop those relationships with the school districts and we garner community support, we measure the impact. So every district we work with gets a survey at the end of the year, and every student that receives a pair of shoes also is asked to complete a survey. These surveys are created by Souls for Souls, but they're vetted by an external organization that has a lot of experience in surveys and data collection, just to ensure the efficacy of our impact and data collection. And so what we've learned over the years is that the students who are receiving these shoes are more confident, they feel a greater sense of belonging, they're increasing their physical activity, they're coming to school more often, and are more engaged. So 95% of the kids reported feeling more confident in their new shoes, and 4 out of 5 said they feel more like their peers. I mentioned that we provide a variety of styles and colors and brands, and that is because we don't want any of these kids to be identified as experiencing homelessness by the shoes that they get from us. So every shoe is different. We try to get it to match their personality and their own personal style so they can feel really great in the shoes that they receive. 3 out of 4 kids reported increased participation in sports and extracurricular activities, and we're starting to get some really great data regarding older students and how the shoes are helping them be prepared to get a job and to have employment. And then our school district partners, 97% of them reported that they saw an increase in school attendance and engagement with the students that received the shoes. And 2 in 3 saw improvements in academic performance. And again, we're starting to get survey results that are showing increased graduation rates as well. But stats only tell one part of the story. I wanted to share this as well because this was a letter that we received from a child who received a pair of shoes. And first of all, I love the photo, and they got a bright red pair of shoes that they felt great in. But I also love that this student shared that the shoes make them feel confident and cool. He didn't really want to go to school with their own old shoes because I felt embarrassed. Now it's different, and I can run and play better. And this is a story of Christian. Christian, because of a series of events, he was living in a hotel and then ended up on the streets. And this top photo shows the shoes that Souls for Souls provided. Christian had a love of music. He wanted to join the marching band, but did not have a proper pair of footwear in order to do so. So with the support of a social worker in his school, who learned about Christian's situation, he received a new pair of shoes through Souls for Souls. And Christian says that those shoes helped him feel normal, and they gave him the confidence to try out for the marching band. And so Christian, you can see a picture of him here at prom, at graduation. Christian ended up receiving a scholarship to school, full ride to participate in a marching band at a local university. And he dreams of becoming a music producer. And it's a full circle moment that Christian came out recently to a distribution event for Souls for Souls. You can see him here in the bottom right, where we provided shoes to an entire school. And he came out and was part of giving back and making that happen. So just one success story of a child that that pair of shoes opened the door to marching band, which opened the door to secondary education, which opened the door to him being a thriving and successful young adult. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I can answer some of the additional questions, but did want to point out I think one of the questions is around our finances and transparency. We are a 4-star Charity Navigator rated organization. We just were rated for the 2nd year in a row as a best nonprofit to work for from the Nonprofit Times. It's a great culture here at Souls for Souls. And because of our other programming, we are able to generate earned revenue in different ways through our programs, which allow the revenue that we create for every kid. Every $20 that we raise, 100% of it goes back into this program to purchase and distribute those shoes for kids in need. So
that
to
was an
answer some,
amazing. Oh,
oh,
yeah. Sorry.
go
No,
ahead.
no, I was gonna say, no, I appreciate you're gonna go down the list. That's great.
Yep. So some of the things that set Souls for Souls apart from some other nonprofits that may be doing this work is that, we're focused primarily on shoes, on meeting that need that is not often met through grants and other organizations. And we're able to do it at scale with brand new shoes, branded shoes, high quality shoes. Because we've been in this business of shoes and clothing for so long, we have wonderful relationships with the Nikes and the Under Armours and the Adidas. And that's why we're able to purchase the shoes at such a low price. We have the infrastructure in place and those relationships with the school districts, like with the Broward Heart Program, to be able to provide the number of shoes needed to meet the needs of the students at a very low cost. And like I said, the other thing that sets us apart is that 100% of the funds raised for this program go directly back into this program. Some of the challenges that we have are really about scale. So we want to be able to serve every student identified as experiencing homelessness by 2030. And that is going to require a large number of shoes purchased and having the warehouse space and the infrastructure, the shipping, the logistics in place in order to do that. We have a great plan in place. We have wonderful partnerships. And in order to serve every child experiencing homelessness, we'll need to generate close to $25 million annually to do that. Our financial health is great. Like I shared on that screen, we are a top-rated organization in terms of our transparency, in terms of our leadership. Our board is 100% giving to the organization, as well as our leadership team. So everybody is fully committed financially, makes financial investment in the organization. We're so passionate about the mission. We have wonderful local partnerships and collaborations, not just with Rita and Case Automotive Group, but with the Community Foundation there in Broward County, with the local school districts. We have a partnership with a Project Upstart with the Miami-Dade School District, the HEART program in Broward, and we just launched our partnership with Palm Beach Public Schools as well. Our plans for growth and expansion into the future is to continue to put the infrastructure in place, generate the revenue so that we can meet that goal of serving the 1.2 million students across the country with a new pair of shoes annually, at least one new pair of shoes annually. As we know, and many of you know that have young kids, they go through shoes very quickly. So we want to make sure that we are able to always meet that need. And ways that you all could be involved. There's a number of ways that you can be involved. So the first is to attend a distribution event with us. So we do 2 there in South Florida annually, at least 2, sometimes more. One is coming up this summer that we'll be partnering with Children's Services Council of Broward in July. This is an event where 1,000 to 1,500 students will come out for back to school. We will provide them with new socks and new shoes, and they'll get other services and backpacks and other things while they're there. This is a great opportunity for you and your family. So I would say kids 8 or older are appropriate to come out to this event. They can help hand out socks to the students. And what's really fun for them is they can help select the shoes that we provide to the students. So we'll have tons of different shoes there, and your kids could be, picking the 2 that they think are the coolest and bringing them to the child to see which one that they like the best. So we have that event. And then in the spring, we do one at a public school there in Broward County as well. We just held one last month, and that's a great opportunity for you to come out and be part of that, where you're fitting the kids, you're sizing them, you're helping them select the best pair of shoes for them. And this is great for middle schoolers and high schoolers to come out and be part of as well. Another opportunity is just creating some great notes and pictures with your family to put in the boxes for the kids. Just words of affirmation, something positive that we can provide Carol at the Heart Program and put in each shoebox. So when the kids receive the shoes, they're also just getting a great note. One of the things that we hear from the students who receive the shoes from us is that not only does it increase their confidence and help open the doors, but it helps them also feel like there's somebody out there that really cares about them, that's thinking about them and cares about them. And so a note just reinforces that. To help with our other programming, you could always host a shoe drive. So you and your family can collect shoes. We use those for our other programs. It's a fun way to give back. And then also helping out at the heart program. So, we deliver thousands of pairs of shoes multiple times a year, coming out, helping unload the truck, helping Carol get that shoe closet all set up is another great way to volunteer. So with that, I'll open the door for any additional questions.
That's awesome. We got just a couple of minutes. Just to clarify, so if there's a shoe drive where it's gently used apparel or shoes, that's really going towards some of your overseas partners where those people in areas that are lacking financially are able to sell those shoes and make money, and that circulates within their communities.
Correct.
All right. And so really your program in South Florida, at least in Broward, is new shoes that you're buying from your corporate partners like Nike and Adidas and things like that.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's amazing. And just to give me an idea of scope, your last event in South Florida, about what was the attendance like, and how many people participated? How many shoes were you able to provide to the children?
Yeah, we provided shoes to the entire school, 400 students, and we had about 100 volunteers come out. And we can serve 400 students in about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and each kid gets sized and then fitted, and then we provide them with some options for shoes, and then they leave with shoes and new socks and a lot of excitement and joy.
And you mentioned, so this is high school, middle school. Is it also elementary as well, or it's K through 12?
Yeah, pre-K through 12.
All right, amazing. All right, I think that is the 20 minutes. This was very informative. Thank you so much, Teresa. That was amazing.
Thank you all.
And next up is Jessica. Jessica with Joe DiMaggio.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Everything's great. How are you doing?
Awesome. I'm great. I'm gonna share my screen. 1 second. And I have a video, so you're gonna have to tell me if you cannot hear it. Okay. Great. Right. So good morning. My name is Jessica Usina. I am the Senior Director for External Partners here at the hospital. I just wanted to share a short video about a very special little boy. Can you hear it? Yes or no?
I don't hear anything yet.
No?
Is there speaking?
Yeah, there is. 1 second. This is where.
There, I can hear it now.
Jacob's presentation started on the scene with fire rescue in the car accident, and there was a heroic and unbelievably successful resuscitation of Jacob, both in extracting him from the car, resuscitating him into the field, and then in the emergency department.
When Jacob first came to us, it was a pretty scary afternoon, to be honest. I mean, he came to us really in pretty bad shape. I mean, I honestly didn't know if he was going to survive.
He was unconscious, he was connected to a bunch of tubes and a bunch of life monitors, and he was hanging on for dear life. He had to fight. They gave him hours to live.
We did emergency surgery on him, both within his abdomen as well as to his extremities. He had a lot of fractures. We had the general surgery team. I had the adult trauma surgeons. We had the cardiac surgeons, the orthopedic surgeons. I mean, somebody told me that there were about 40 people in the room that night just helping to take care of Jacob and to get him through that initial operation.
Jacob spent hours getting various things done to him, including controlling bleeding blood vessels, fractured bones, wounds to his heart, to his chest, to his abdomen. And at one point, given the degree of injury to his liver, he actually had to have heart surgery, directing some of the blood from his liver to bypass and go directly to his heart. His kidneys stopped working. He got dialysis. From his head to his toe, every organ was affected. He was in a coma, a traumatic coma. We didn't know he would ever wake up.
When the doctors told me the list of stuff that was wrong with him, it was really overwhelming because I couldn't imagine.
I remember talking to the family and I said, my biggest concern right now was his brain. And I remember when we finally got him off the ventilator and we all took a deep breath, and then we started seeing him move. We started seeing him follow commands.
He started his physical therapy, very little at the bed. But once we got to the therapy department, it was like another world. His therapist walked him into the room with us, and it was really emotional.
I think that was the breaking point. We knew he will do a very good recovery because he was happy playing, he started to smile. Our initial goals were just for wheelchair mobility. We didn't expect him to walk. Now he's able to go up and down the stairs and do everything.
He's exceeded our expectations. He's talking, his family was able to just enjoy a meal together again. And that was honestly one of the most encouraging and inspiring moments in his stay here.
I'm definitely gonna miss Jacob. It's being an occupational therapist, I was gonna attach to all of my patients, I can tell you that much. But it's just seeing the progress that he's made and seeing how far he's come just knows that I've done my job.
This young man's being discharged today, and if you asked me 3 months ago when he came in, would this day ever come? I probably would have said, I don't think so. But to see him right now is a testament not only to Jacob and his family, but to the fire rescue team, the first responders on the scene, the ER group, the trauma group, and everyone involved in the pediatric ICU. And this is why we do it, for little guys like Jacob.
I remember being in the operating room at one point when we took him back to wash him out and to close his abdomen up, and somebody saying, wow, look at that scar. And I said, listen, if this kid can wake up and tell me that he doesn't like his scar, that'll be the happiest day of my life. And look at him now.
Today's the day we're going home, and it's bittersweet. I mean, there's no words that describe the feelings that I get. I mean, I greatly appreciate everything. You guys are family of mine for the rest of our life.
Great video.
So, Jacob's story is one of many here at the hospital. And one that impacted so many departments as he started from, first responders to his care. And I'm proud to say that last month, his family, they donated over 150 Easter baskets to patients and caregivers here at the hospital. So that's a picture of him, and he's doing really well. So Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital opened in 1992. It was actually a unit at Memorial Regional Hospital right across the street. And Joe DiMaggio himself gave his name with one condition, all children, we're caring for all children regardless of their ability to pay. In 2011, we expanded our freestanding hospital right across the street. And then in 2022, we expanded a 4-story vertical expansion. So as one of the region's leading pediatric hospitals, we're proud of all of the accolades and awards that we've received. We treat more than 375,000 patients per year. And actually around 60% of all babies born in Broward County are born at a Memorial Hospital. We see over 125,000 visitors to our emergency departments each year. And we house over 25,000 families in our Conine Clubhouse, which is a free apartment right here on campus where families can stay free of charge. Here's a map of our impact. We have our Northwest facility up in Wellington. We have offices in Coral Springs and Boca, Weston. Hollywood is our main campus. And then we also just opened our Miramar pediatric services this past year. So here at Joe DiMaggio, we embrace a family-centered care culture. We believe that patients, families, and providers are partners in child's care. We also pride ourselves on the experience. So if you've been here before, if you've had a child stay here before, you might have experienced some of the fun that we provide. A lot of it includes playrooms on each floor. We have a Broward County school teacher here on staff. We have child life specialists. We have integrative therapies. You can order a room service to your room. You can also call for Freedom, our therapy dog. You can call 65-BARK and he will come to your room as well. We also provide art and music therapy. A lot of this helps with pain reduction, anxiety, emotional coping. We also have a gaming and technology therapist, and she, helps enhance the experience here at the hospital. We provide yoga therapy. And as I mentioned, we have Freedom, who is our canine assisted therapist. He's actually a staff member here. And in this month, in the next 2 weeks, we're introducing a second puppy. His name is going to be Goldie. And these dogs actually come from a company called ECAD out of Connecticut, and they trained for 2 years prior to being placed with the hospital. So we're really excited to welcome 2 members of our team. And as you can imagine, Freedom is highly needed for staff and patients. These are some pictures of our Kids Zone. We partnered with Garth Brooks Teammates for Kids Foundation. We are the 14th zone in the nation. And if you've attended the hospital before, it's on our 8th floor. And this is a place where our patients can play, relax. We call it our cruise ship type style space, where we provide every patient the calendar of events for the week. So in the morning, typically we have something, and then in the afternoon as well. And if you're well enough, if you feel good enough to come up and play, we welcome that. And we also host a lot of events up here, patient experiences. So it's a really fun place. So some highlights: we have a toddler zone, we have a medical play zone, and that's an interactive ambulance that really focuses on teaching the kids about what to expect during different procedures. We have a teen zone, we have an arcade, air hockey table is probably the most popular. We have a little cafe. We have our event space, so we have a theater, and we actually host in June a prom for our patients. So that's one of the areas that we love. And then we have a classroom, which is where our Broward County school teacher sits on staff. We have a sensory room. And then finally, we have a city furniture parent lounge that's a little bit behind the zone. The Canine Clubhouse, as I mentioned, it's one of those home away from home housing units on campus. We have 24 rooms. We're expanding 4 more. And Mr. Conine and his wife, they host an annual golf tournament every year to raise funds specifically for the Canine Clubhouse. But it's free of charge, and we see this typically for long care patients and their families. Here's a list of our 50, over our 50 pediatric specialties services that we offer here at the hospital. So a few ways to get involved, and I know many of you on the call have been involved in some way, one way or another here, but we're always accepting donations, all gifts of any size. We have specific giving societies and special funds. Those at 50,000 and above, giving at 1,000 and up per year. We also host, our foundation hosts certain events throughout the year. So we have a gala coming up in November. We have the golf tournament in the spring. Volunteer opportunities either inside the hospital or at events. We also have a patient and advisory council. So that's a committee where you can help make some of the decisions within the hospital. We also accept toy donations, and we host a toy drive around the holidays, but throughout the year we accept donations all year long, and specifically unwrapped gifts. We use them for medical play, for holidays, for celebrations, for milestones. It's actually one of the things that we're focused on this year is creating a more streamlined process, because as you can imagine, we get hundreds of thousands of toys every year. So we're working through that right now. And also you can become a champion of change. So one of the ways I was thinking that, YPO members can get involved is creating a fundraiser. It could be one event, it could be numerous events throughout the year. You can create your own page, and then folks can donate directly to that. And it's one of those ways that it goes directly to the impact that, for the patients and families that we serve. And that's it.
Oh, that was awesome. Thank you. That was very comprehensive. I appreciate it. So what would you say would be your biggest challenge right now? Because you guys cover quite a broad scope from a medical side.
Yeah, probably, the cost of care is not fully covered by insurance. So we really do benefit from donations and community partners. That's why it's so critical to continue to expand our services. So that's one of the largest needs. I also feel like spreading any sort of awareness. I think some people, they might not be aware that we're in their community and the types of services that we do provide here at the hospital. So I would say that those would probably be both.
So when you say, maybe if you can give us like an order of magnitude, when you say the cost of care is not fully covered, I guess, if you can give us just maybe some percentages or something, estimates, and just
Yeah,
get an
so
idea of like, what would be the gap or the shortfall.
yeah, so 60%-ish of some of the services are covered, and then the other 40% we utilize our support donors, our foundation. We also expanded the 4th floor expansion. We embarked on a capital campaign 2 years ago, so we're continuing to raise funds, for that investment. And we've expanded the 4 additional floors, provided a lot more care for all of our kids. So we've been able to raise money for those purposes.
So of the 40% that, you're really relying on donations, do you get to a point where you just say, hey, we ran out of funds, so we can't do this, or how does that work?
Yeah, and some, services, we have what's called a patient-centered fund, I believe it's called. And that's specifically for those services that may not be covered by insurance or we're out of donors. And that fund specifically, we have a committee that votes on, they could take care of the entire cost of care for certain surgeries or certain procedures that the hospital has. And it's amazing the generous support that we receive when we mention like one family story and how people can specifically help. Those are some ways that I feel like everyone can get involved as well.
So when you mention your champion of change, where let's say if we were to put together it would be our own website page within Joe DiMaggio, and we're funneling support towards that. And would some of those funds be used for something like what you're talking about, procedures that aren't covered fully by insurance or by someone else?
Exactly. It would go towards unrestricted giving. So it would be used for those services.
And what are some future growth or expansion plans?
We're actually embarking on a strategic plan over the next 5 years. And it will be rolled out shortly, but I do know that we're looking to expand some of our campus footprint, potentially bringing some services here that are across the street still. And then also, continuing to provide the care that we have and the need in the community. So depending on the service line, if we are looking at a cardiac program, expanding that's one of our strategic plans that would continue to, provide, additional doctors and services and clinicians into those programs.
Got it. Can you give me an idea and just ballpark figures, of all the patients that you have, how many are coming in that just don't have insurance and really need help as a percentage?
I actually don't have that exact percentage, but I do know that I could probably circle back with you on that.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that there's other companies and organizations that are partnering up with you with Champion of Change. What are some organizations or companies that we might know of that are already working with you, like in that capacity?
Yeah, so we work with hundreds of nonprofits throughout the community where we, as a healthcare system, sponsor different initiatives, different events. We also, on my end, with my department within Joe DiMaggio, we work with partners within the community and creating what that year-round partnership looks like. For example, the Florida Panthers, we support them as their official pediatric children's hospital partner. And with that, some of the players come to visit throughout the year in our zone, which our kids love. And that creates fun for them. I mean, obviously they love meeting anybody who's they can watch on TV. We also have a partnership with the Museum of Discovery and Science. So throughout the year, we sponsor their traveling exhibit. So if you visit the museum, you'll see our huge love letters. But then we also bring them here where we have like a mobile STEM program that we provide to our patients and families. So we're really creative with what that looks like with our partnerships. We've come up with some really fun ways to, you know, whatever the focus and strategy is for that partner, we're able to figure that out within the hospital and how that can relate to the kids.
Amazing. All right. We're coming close to time. Any final words?
No, I appreciate the time. Thank you for having me.
This is great. I really appreciate it. Very comprehensive. Thank you so much. And next up, we have Melanie with LifeNet for Families.
Hi,
Hey, how are you doing, Melanie?
I'm doing well, thank you. Hold on, let me just like make sure my thing is being. Okay, so you guys know what's going on.
All right, we can see you and we can hear you.
Awesome. Well, I am so excited to be here. I thank you all for the opportunity. And I want to share about LifeNet for Families and then show a brief video at the end of my conversation with you guys about what we're doing. So I'm going to just share this part of my screen first. Okay. Are you able to see that?
Yes.
Okay, so this is just overview of our services and what we do, and also just some of the things that I want to highlight. So LifeNet for Families is the leading provider in the county for services to the unsheltered homeless. On any given night in Broward County, there are over 1,600 people who are experiencing homelessness who are not able to get into a shelter because there are no beds. So on a typical night, any night in Broward County, there's between 800 and 1,000 beds available and 1,600 people. So those other people, that's 600 people. Those 600 people are the people who are coming to LifeNet for Families every day for services. On top of that, we also provide food security services for people in our community who are experiencing food insecurity through our mobile pantry program. And I want to make sure that you understand those two distinctions, because a lot of people think of LifeNet and think that we are a provider of homeless services only. But we really want people to remember us as the emergency room for poverty, because we focus on everybody who is experiencing financial hardship and crisis. So our community cafe serves 6 days a week, and we serve about 250 people every day. And it doesn't matter where you are from or what your situation is. If you are hungry and in need of food, you're able to eat here. It is not a homeless service. It is a service available for people who are food insecure. We have a Families First initiative where we provide hot meals for families. They're able to come and pick up a meal 6 nights a week so that they have food for their families. It is about ensuring dignity, and those meals are packaged as if they were coming from a restaurant. We've had families say their kids think it's DoorDash. It's labeled, it's packaged, and the food is restaurant quality. We stand for nothing less. If we wouldn't eat it, we don't serve it. So our Families First initiative serves 78 families right now. And we provide those meals 6 days a week. So the only day that they really have to worry about their own food is on Sundays. We also have provisions for pets, which is a pet food distribution program, because a lot of people who are experiencing food insecurity also have pets. We also have Food for Thought. These are custom packages that provide breakfast and lunch food for school-age children. We work with the HEART program and also with Title I schools throughout the community, where we literally provide the food boxes at the school so that the kids can have them. We have a mobile pantry that provides food to over 30,000 households, over 2,500 households every month. So we provide over 30,000 meals annually for people who are experiencing food insecurity. It is a massive undertaking because we partner with everybody from Holy Cross Hospital to the Broward Housing Authority to large churches to Broward College. And so we are just making sure that people in our community who need it have food. We also have health and well-being initiatives, and included in that is our Fresh Start Shower Facility program, where people who don't have a place to shower are able to access showers here on site at LifeNet for Families, and we do about 72 showers a day. We also provide clothing. You can see how many showers we're doing, how many clothing we're distributing annually. And we also have homeless healthcare services on site, and that is through Broward Health. They are here once a week with their mobile clinic on property, and they literally provide preventative care services, and then we partner with them so that we can refer people directly to them. We have COVID testing, HIV testing, all of those things are done through partnerships. The final piece is stability. We want to make sure that once people are, once they get the basic needs met, that they're able to stabilize and until they can get into a better situation. So we have case management, we have referrals, we do rent and utility assistance, we have on-site shelter placement through partnerships. Task force is here every week, twice a week, to make sure that people who are seeking housing are able to get into a shelter bed. And every time that they're here, they run out of shelter beds throughout the county, and people are still here waiting and asking us what now. And so LifeNet for Families is really the what now. Those people also don't have a place to get their mail, so we started a postal service where they're able to get their mail here and use this address. And so those are some of the services that we have available. We recently launched a parking lot project, and you'll hear a little bit about that in the video. So I really didn't want to go into that too much because I don't want to take up too much time. So I'm going to share that with you now, that video, and then we can go back to any questions that you might have.
Sounds good.
Is everybody able to see that?
I can see it.
Okay.
Poverty and homelessness are a growing challenge that we cannot ignore. Some of the effects of life's hardships are visible on our streets, but there are many homeless faces that you never see. There are many living in cars, struggling day to day to make.
Oh, the sound cut out. The sound just cut out. Oh, Melanie, can you hear me?
Melanie, you're
Yes,
on mute if you're
not sure
talking to
what
us.
happened. I'm trying to, yeah, I was. Let me see what happened there. Let me stop sharing and share it again.
I-
That. Yeah, loan me.
Yeah.
Any parking lot you go to in the city.
I can hear
You're
it.
gonna find 2, 3, 10 people living in their cars.
People need help. To normalize and give voice to the fact that this is a difficult time in our community. There is a lack of affordable housing.
The fact is that many more are facing this devastating reality as rent prices skyrocket, insurance premiums rise, gas and food go up, and on and on.
People think that they know who the clients of LifeNet are, but they really don't because they're everywhere.
If it happened to me, it can happen to anybody.
Our landlord basically sold the property with no advance warning, and that was right in the middle when I was having a bunch of different operations. We tried to see if the new owner would let us stay.
Oop, it just dropped again.
1,000 people experiencing homelessness.
Well, I don't know what's happening.
Let me try this. If you can stop share, I actually found your Vimeo on just by Googling it. Let me try sharing it on my end. It might be just some sort of like internet connection thing. Let me try it on my end and see if that works any better. I'll start with Erica Royal, who is a YPO member of our chapter. Can you hear it?
No,
You can't hear it?
no. No, because
Nothing?
no. Ah,
That's
all
so
right.
strange.
Maybe I can try to reshare it again and then.
Yeah,
see.
maybe try it on your side.
Thank you, Hugh. That was so nice. But sometimes uh when everything's going wrong, it does. Hold on.
3,000 people experiencing homelessness, over 200,000 in need of food assistance, and a housing market that offers no relief in sight. LifeNet for Families has had no choice but to evolve. It is a vicious cycle as most people are living paycheck to paycheck.
It's hard to save up because you're spending it all constantly just to eat and stay alive.
I had to turn in my apartment because I couldn't afford it to pay it and ended up in my car.
The struggle is real, and your help is needed now more than ever. There is a pressing issue. In less than 2 years, LifeNet for Families must relocate its operation.
When I went to LifeNet, what I saw were people at their wits' end, at the last edge of the rope that they have. They're just in desperate straits and they need help.
Because when I came there, I was afraid, not knowing which way to go, hungry, angry, lonely, tired.
Our story is an American story. We are the average American couple. We both had jobs. We had a nice, comfortable, middle-class home. And then his kidneys failed. His kidneys failed. He couldn't work anymore.
LifeNet for Families is simply out of space and needs a larger building to accommodate a growing demand as Broward County's emergency room for people experiencing hunger, homelessness, and poverty.
My hope for LifeNet for Families is that we have a larger facility that allows us to really assist people in a way that can help to transform their lives.
If LifeNet wasn't here, people would go hungry. People would go hungrier.
LifeNet wants to be able to do more and should be able to do more, but we need the physical space to do more and really the support of the community, the county, the state.
The organization's pillars are food and nutrition, health and well-being, and stability. LifeNet for Families offers a variety of essential programs and services. The Community Cafe serves nearly 400 meals daily, 6 days a week, offering a dine-in option, as well as pickup and delivery. The mobile pantry provides nutritious food to over 3,000 households each month. The innovative parking lot project for those living in a car provides access to hot meals, showers, and a respite in the evenings. There's also access to clothing, rent, and utility assistance, employment readiness, case management, shelter placement, and healthcare services.
There's not enough of anything. And yet we're trying to respond to a massive issue in this community that sometimes I think people forget about because there's a LifeNet for Families and because we're taking such good care of the people. We stand in the gap as the emergency room for poverty.
And LifeNet for Family has been a lifesaver.
When you first find yourself homeless, it's depressing and confusing. You don't know what to do or where to turn. And they've been great.
LifeNet is supporting. I think without LifeNet, I don't know what would be.
LifeNet for Families is that glimmer of hope for those who need it most. But without LifeNet for Families, the void left would be staggering. The impact would echo far beyond our clients. Now it's time to raise the roof. That's where you come in. Help LifeNet for Families find a new home to continue assisting those experiencing homelessness and poverty. Make a gift, become a volunteer, Join our corporate partnership program or even host a food drive. Get involved today.
I beg you to come and see what we're doing, to get involved. If you come to LifeNet for Families, I dare you. There's no way you can turn your back. There's no way I can turn my back. I don't get to go home and just put it on the shelf. I don't get to come to an event and feel some kind of compassion and then go home and shelf it. I'm in it and I'm committed, but I can't do it alone.
Get involved and help LifeNet for Families raise its roof today.
Okay. So I tried to take my screen off, and I think that what was happening is every time I muted myself and my screen, it was muting the whole entire video because it's still hard for me to watch that video. So I wanted to say that in terms of, let me see if there's anything that I'm really want to make sure that I didn't miss. We really measure our impact by using various surveys. We use the Warwick and Edinburgh survey to measure well-being, because it's really important to be able to measure how well people are doing and not just, quantifying what they're receiving. We also use USDA survey to measure food security in households. And then we have our own data systems where we measure our performance by doing customer service surveys. It's really important for us that people who are experiencing homelessness or are feeling dignity, and that people who are in the trenches and avoiding homelessness are feeling supported. And so all of our services are designed to do just that. We partner with everybody from Holy Cross, Broward Health, Bank of America, Publix. Publix gives us, over 80,000 pounds of food each year, in addition to funding. We partner with Macy's. They select LifeNet for Families as a Change Roundup organization. So we just partner with anyone who is willing to get involved in this mission. And our future needs are clear. We need a new building. The demand is far greater than what we can do here at LifeNet for Families. Every day, there are more people who are falling into this space of homelessness. I want to say that the people in the video, the couple, they are now housed, but they lived in their car for 6 months. Our system tells us that they should only be in their car for like 2 weeks, and then they would be eligible for an assessment. When we wrote the grant, we thought that was going to happen. We were going to provide a stopgap, but there isn't a stopgap because the bleeding is just way too heavy. And so people are ending up at our doorstep, and we have to figure out what next. Everybody drops people off here. Hospitals, the police department, people are released from prison and they're at our doorstep, mental health institutions, just everyone who needs help ends up at the doorstep, and we don't get to say, we can't help you. So for us, it is about finding ways to connect people to what they need and doing what we can. My staff, if you say to them, after you've done all you can, they will all finish it by saying, do one more thing. Does anybody have any questions? Tell me what I can
Sure. So can you give us an idea of the size of the organization, how many staff members that you have currently, and are you short-staffed also in addition to short of space?
So yes, well, we're short-staffed, but when we're fully staffed, our budget supports 21 people. So all of what you've heard that we've done, 145,000 meals, countless 72 showers a day, all of that is done with a staff of 21. That includes all of development, that includes me, that includes community relations. So it's a very small team, and we rely heavily on volunteerism. So we have large groups that come in to volunteer. We partner with Hands On South Florida. So, on a daily basis, we can take up to 6 volunteers. We rely on student groups, on churches, on hospitals, on everybody to come in, and corporations. We just did a large packing event last week with UKG, where we were able to take enough food for them to pack 500 bags. And then they pack the food for us, and we bring it back to LifeNet for Families. And that saves us a ton of labor by having community partners help us to pack, and they use that as a team building event.
And the 21 people staff, those are payrolled staff. That's not volunteers, right? That's
Oh, that's payroll staff, yes.
got it. Got it. And how did you come up with the name LifeNet for Families?
So the organization this is our 38th year. It's known as the Cooperative Feeding Program. Clients still call it the co-op, but LifeNet for Families was really an extension because the services have evolved. It's not just a feeding program. It used to be known as that. It is really a LifeNet for families. So we are really trying to address the whole family, regardless where you are, and try to help people avoid homelessness. So a lot of our services focus on that. Everything from connecting people to bereavement counseling or tutoring, or we do meditation here. Just all of the kinds of services that people need to begin again or to stay in a position where they don't fall outside of the ever-changing middle class or stable class.
And as far as your facility goals, over the next, what are your current goals for the expansion? Are you looking to keep your current facility and add another one in a different location, maybe move into a larger facility altogether? Maybe an idea of square footage goals, what you have now and what you would like to move into?
So we're looking for a new facility. 25,000 square feet is on the low end. Right now we're just above 10,000 square feet in this building. And we really need to have more space. Right now we have 250 people a day. Our cafeteria holds like 40 people. So, and people start lining up. You saw the lines at 6:30 in the morning, people are lining up for food because most of the shelters ask them to leave out early in the morning and then they can come back later. They can't just stay there. So if they are on their way to work, which a lot of them are, they come here first, try to get a meal and then go to work. Whatever the situation is, they're here. And so we have to kind of stagger it, and it's labor intensive because we have to make sure that people have enough time to eat and to have an experience. Our dining room has music, it has cubbies for their belongings. We have wait staff, which are volunteers, wiping tables, bringing coffee, but we also want to make sure that we're moving people in and out. So it takes a lot, and it would be just great if we had, let's say, a cafeteria that could seat 100 people at a time. And so we're using multiple areas for spacing. So the idea is that we have a center that covers all of that. And it's not a homeless center, it's not a shelter, it is a center for new beginnings. There's training labs. We see training labs in this center for new beginnings, where people are able to learn trades and skills. Right now we use AccuVision software, which is a software that we purchased that really focuses on soft skills, because everybody hires for hard skills, but what really ends up killing people is the soft skills. So just making sure that people have the soft skills, we focus on that, because if you're just in survival mode, sometimes you're not really even focused on improving yourself. So we get them to the point where they could be productive and they're not just in survival mode. We literally had people who were, doing things like, oh, okay, I need to, we'd be saying, why are they stealing the toilet seat? And then it was just like, I need to talk to them. So we started having forums, and they're like, well, because if you're outside and you're using a bucket, it just feels better to sit on a seat. And we're like, are you serious? So it's hard to really argue with that, but you want to, because you're like, okay, well, we're creating this for you here. So it is a very, very difficult population, and it's a population that most people don't know what to do with. So then they send them to LifeNet for Families, and we're okay with that. We just need more space, more support, more funding to be able to handle it, because otherwise it's an emergency room with blood all over the floor. We need somebody to help us wipe it up.
Awesome.
Are you doing a capital campaign for your new building? Do you have an amount that you're looking to raise?
So right now our board is really focused on, they're in the community. If you haven't seen them yet, you will, but really focused on building relationships and making people understand that we need to be someplace, because no one wants LifeNet in their community. And that's the hard part. We can't just go and get a building and say, oh, we're going to be right here. No one wants to have a place where you're feeding the homeless, where people are lining up, where people have mental health issues. No one wants it. So it's easy. There are 7 stops on the Sun Trolley for the city of Fort Lauderdale at LifeNet for Families every morning, because it moves people from downtown. and it gets them to a place where somebody else can figure out what to do. And so we haven't gotten to the point of the capital campaign. It is in the works. We have a strategic plan. This is the last year of our strategic plan. So our board is working on developing a strategic plan that will really lay the foundation and everything for exactly what that will look like and how much we need to raise. We have some foundations that have already aligned with us and said, you know, we just want to have all of the information. We have an architectural firm that's working with us. So we're just looking at all of the pieces, and you know, then we're going to plug them all together.
I'm gonna check is Lori on with Junior Achievement, because I want to just try to stay on schedule if possible. I don't see her on.
Melanie, my team's gonna reach out to you. If you would be so kind to tour my family and I'd like to get more involved.
Who's that?
My team's going to reach out to you. If you'd be so
okay.
kind to tour me and my family, we'd like to get involved and help.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much.
Melanie, are you able to drop your contact information into the chat?
Yes.
I think that'd be awesome. And is Lori on? Is Lori Salarulo on? All right, I see Robin's on. Hey, Robin, do you have Lori's contact information just to reach out to her to make sure that she knows to jump on?
Yes, I do. I will text her right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Great idea. So I saw Tom drop the homeless helpline in there. And Jessica, if you're on, if you want to drop your contact info, and anyone, any of the presenters, if you want to drop your contact info in the chat, I think that'd be helpful for the audience.
What time was Lori supposed to be on?
11:20.
Okay. All right, I just
Yeah.
texted her.
All right, we'll give her a couple minutes. If not, you know, maybe if she can create a short video, we can send it around.
Okay. I know when I spoke to her at least a week ago, she was all set up for this, so I can't imagine she wouldn't be doing it.
Oh, she just said she can't find the Zoom info. Her laptop crashed. Let me message her the Zoom info, and that would explain things.
Okay, I'll go back on mute.
Hey guys, I am so sorry. My computer crashed and I couldn't find the Zoom information. I am so sorry.
No worries. Welcome, Lori.
Good. Okay, let me take a deep breath because I was like panicking. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. All right, so you are closing it out. Take us home. Tell us about Junior Achievement of South Florida, and you have a list of questions in front of you as well.
I do. So let's see. God, Junior Achievement is here in South Florida. We provide services for 5th grade, 8th grade, high school. So really, and actually we say from K through 12. We're also serving some young adults through age 24. Our focus is entrepreneurship, workforce skills, and financial literacy. And so we always like to say that we're teaching students how to earn money, how to save, manage, and grow their money. So all of that together. We have numerous programs where we do that. But before I go into those, we would not be able to do what we do without, I would say, 2 very important things. One is our relationship and partnership with Broward County Public Schools. So about 15 years ago, we signed an agreement that every single 5th grader and every single 8th grader would do JA programs. What makes them unique is that the programs are held in the classroom. So there are classroom lessons where we're teaching very interactively and in a very engaging way the lessons that they will need in order to participate in the simulations here at JA World. And again, they focus on those 3 core pillars. So that is number one of the differentiating factors. And then number 2 is our center. JA World Huizinga Center at the Lillian S. Wells Pavilion, which is here on the Broward College North Campus. It's a 60,000 square foot facility, educational facility, where we actually bring students, every 5th grader, every 8th grader, and now about 6,000 high school students to apply what they're learning. So our story is not about, it's not a sad story, right? I always, talk about, when we work for nonprofits and we're raising money and we're telling the stories, this is not a sick child or a homeless person. This is a story of opportunity. These are young adults, young children who are provided with the opportunity to see the possibilities that are out there for them in the future and to develop those skills that we know they're going to need for the future. And so I think for us, it is really all about opportunity. This facility is the largest in the world. There are only 34, and we're so proud of it. And like I said, 80,000 students come through a year after doing the classroom portion and preparing them for the simulations. So 5th grade focused on all 3 core pillars. They actually run BizTown. 8th grade is where they do, but really focus on career exploration. And then once they have their job, right, how are they going to manage their budget? That's the last portion of it. And then from a high school perspective, there's several programs. There's JA Career Bound Youth Employment, 8 months of training, going out into industries and working on business case challenges, and then being prepared to go into summer jobs. This summer, we will place 400 students in 6-week internships paid for by employers as well as grant funding. And then, so that's Career Bound. We'll serve about 450 students this year. And that started with 25 students 5 years ago. So we've seen tremendous growth there. And the results of that with employers has been amazing, which is a testament to the value that the students are bringing. So 92% of our employers are retained year after year to hire our students. 27 to 28% of our employees are paying or contributing to the wages. And about 15% of our students are getting offered continued employment. So we know that that rigorous training is really, really worthwhile. I think, so that's Career Bound. Then we have JA Entrepreneurship. And the JA Fellows Program is where we have about 600 to 700 students each year from approximately 13 schools who create entrepreneurial teams. They come up with their idea. We give them $100 to start their companies. There's typically about 20 to 25 students in the company. And they source their product, market their product, sell their product. They are creating websites using digital skills, break-even analysis, all of those different tools, right, that we have to do as businesses. They're doing sales, customer service, everything you can imagine. And while it's an entrepreneurship program, I always say it is probably the best form of teaching young people work skills. Right after COVID, we had teams who were sourcing, there was a couple of teams that were sourcing their products from China. And those kids were getting up at 4 a.m. to make sure that their products got here on time. They are dealing with real world business problems, right? Creating real companies. And then at the end of that, they compete at a national level. Well, they compete here locally, and then they can be selected to compete nationally at JAUSA. And they do an annual competition. So we love our entrepreneurship program. And again, it's another way of teaching students, especially today's generation, we know how many young people really want to start their own companies today. So how do we provide them with those skills, that confidence? And I will tell you, those two programs, when I see the transformation from beginning to end, it's like seeing different kids. They start out with little confidence, barely able to put a sentence together very often. And then you see them just shining at the end, boldly and courageously presenting their product. So very, very rewarding. Then we also have our stock market challenge. If you are aware, our school district, our state has said that every student must have financial literacy in order to graduate, have credit. The schools provide the curriculum within the classroom, and then we bring the students here for what we call the stock market challenge. There are some lessons that are embedded into the classroom. Again, as always, it's always a blended model with JA. There are mentors and business people who are working with them, a lot of them from the financial fields. And then they come here for the stock market challenge, where they have portfolios, they're in teams and they compete. And it is wild. It is screaming, buy, sell, and all of those things. So we recreate the stock market floor. And now this year, for the first time, there'll be a national competition. So we have 3 teams going to the national competition for stock market challenge. And by the way, on entrepreneurship, we have had teams every year for the last 6 years since we started the program. And we have typically come in first or second place. So we're very, very proud. They tell us at JUSA that we do JA Fellows Entrepreneurship on steroids. So lots of opportunities for involvement. We also have our 3DE high school model, which right now is in 2 schools, MacArthur and Flanagan. And that is not a program. That's actually a high school model that was developed by JA to change the way we teach in high school education. And that is where, just like Harvard, Yale, business case challenges are not only embedded into one class, but they are embedded into every single core subject. So if the students are in 3DE and they're working on a case challenge, when they're in English, they are working on that case challenge as part of their English class. What that does is it transforms high school education so that kids are not saying, why am I learning this? Why am I in algebra when I don't want to do math? But when they're doing their case challenge, they're applying algebra, right, to their break-even analysis or cost analysis or whatever they're doing for their case challenge. So it really is about connecting core academics with application. And so that's 2 schools. And I think I got all of the high school programs as well. So I know it's a lot. We do a lot, but it is all focused on preparing young people for the future. And we have been just so proud of watching where they end up. So do you want me to keep going through the questions?
Yeah, I would say, certainly touch upon what are some of your biggest challenges right now. And then for sure, give us an idea of how YPO would be able to support and contribute to your mission, or how maybe some similar organizations as ours have you worked with them.
Absolutely. So we work with probably about between 500 and 600 companies a year. Every single JA program relies on a few things. Number one, it is that blended classroom and application model, right? Because we know that our kids want to get out of the classroom and they want to apply, right? I'm on my phone right now. They have every single bit of information at their fingertips. So they really want to apply it. What we are seeing, so that's number one, that makes us, differentiates us. Number 2 is our center. And then number 3, I would say, is that mentorship and volunteer piece. That is critical to every single program, right? When I talked about 3DE high schools, it's 3-dimensional education. Everything we do, every program is a combination or a partnership and collaboration between our school systems and districts, JA, and the business community. And of course, in that business community, I also include the government, public sector. So the challenges, I think there would be 3 that I would probably touch on. One would be the rate that technology is changing. The jobs are changing, and we know that. So we keeping up with technology, not only equipment, but also, right, how we're teaching our students. This year, we are doing a reimagining of our 8th grade finance park program, which is where they're like storefronts, but everyone is dedicated to a career or industry. We are embedding AI, VR, and VR applications and activations. Very expensive to do that, right? That project will probably over the next 2 years cost us over $500,000. We are looking at every high school program. So every high school program embeds digital skills because our kids need to know digital skills. But now starting this year, we're also looking at how can we require them to use 1 or 2 AI platforms, right? Because we know that in the jobs that they're going to go into, they will have to know how to use AI. They may not need to know how to code, but they'll need to know how to use AI. So I would say technology upgrades and advancements and reimagining our programs using technology is definitely a challenge financially, as well as, right, just making sure we have that expertise at our fingertips. And then secondly, I would say that mentorship and volunteership piece. We need approximately 7,000 volunteers and mentors to run our programs a year. So recruiting the right mentors, the businesses like YPO, every business in there, having them come in as speakers, talking about their industries, their careers, mentoring our entrepreneurship teams so that they really understand, right, and that we're helping them run their businesses. Our 8th grade programs where we're helping them to explore all of those careers, that's a critical piece for us. And again, we have a very high retention rate, but it's finding those new to come in and be speakers and mentors and volunteers. And then, of course, like any nonprofit, I would say the other challenge is always fundraising. And that's, typical for nonprofits. We have grown over the last, I would say 9 years from serving about 35,000 students to 80,000 students a year. Our budget has grown from about $3.5 million to $9 million. And by the way, the growth that is happening in all of our programs is being driven absolutely by students and teachers. Teachers are telling us we've never seen our kids so engaged. Kids are engaged. They want to come to this, whereas they don't want to show up in the classroom. Engagement is a huge issue for our schools. So we know that this is what our students need. Our district knows it's what it needs. Our students keep asking for more and more. Our teachers keep asking. So we're just going to keep trying to raise the money to deliver.
So you mentioned the facility, I guess, was it the real world simulation facility? Is that what that is? It's the largest, the largest one in the world. Can you explain that a little bit? Because I'm trying to picture it in my head and just explain it and maybe give me an idea of magnitude, like how many square feet is it and how many people are working there on your side?
Yep, it is 60,000 square feet. So it's a huge facility. And inside of JA World, it was built primarily for 5th and 8th grade originally. That was the original plan. Every 5th grader would do BizTown and every 8th grader would do Finance Park. Now we have high school, so we're using all of our meeting space, and I'll talk about that in a second. So we have 2 BizTowns that are identical. When you walk in the main entrance of the building, there is a BizTown to the left and to the right. There are 18 storefronts in each of those towns. They are identical, by the way, because we have 30,000 students who go through there, and so it has to be the same experience. But because there's so many students, we needed 2. So every storefront is sponsored by a company or a group of companies together, and they represent a different industry and different careers. Every storefront has 5 to 7 employees that work in it. The students already know before they get here what their jobs will be because they've interviewed in the classrooms. So they have already learned, I'm going to get 2 paychecks. I have to save first, I have to pay myself first. Then I have to go spend money in all the other storefronts during my breaks because that's how the economy works, right? And they have to run their business. They go to the bank, they get a bank loan in the morning, and by the end of the day, they have to pay back that bank loan. That means their business has been successful. They are presenting through the day. The chief financial officers, the CEOs are on the TV station being interviewed. So all of those work skills that all of the employers like you tell us you need and want, presentation, communication, collaboration, problem solving, you hear them, right? In a store that's a retail store. Oh my God, we didn't sell enough products to pay back our loan. What can we do? And you hear them coming up with ideas, 2-for-1 sales, right? Or, something like that. So all of the skill sets that we're talking about are being embedded and practiced during those simulations. So that is a 5th grade. And I want to just share a quick story because I know you asked me for stories as well. There were 2 young ladies who came here to film a video for us. They were graduating high school. They did the BizTown 5th grade program that I just described. They did 8th grade, which I'll describe in a moment. They did Career Bound, and they did Fellows, the entrepreneurship program. After the video shooting was over, they said, Miss Cellarulo, could we go into BizTown? And I said, absolutely. We went inside, and the one young lady stopped me right in front of the TV station, and she said, that's where I worked. Now, this is a young lady who's going into college. She said, that's where I worked. And I said, well, what was your job? And she said, I was the anchor. And I said, well, tell me about it. Do you remember the experience? And she said, yes. She said, I remember when the red light on the camera went on. All I could think of was, oh my gosh, everyone can hear my voice. Everyone can hear my story, and they can see me. And she said, I just felt like so good. My confidence, like I had to tell the story into the camera. I had to interview people. And so I said, wow. And I said, well, where are you going to be going to school next year? And she said, oh, I'm going to Florida, FSU. And I said, what are you studying? And she said, media and communications. And I said to her, did this have anything to do with that? And she said, it had everything to do with it. I knew when that camera went on that first time that was what I was meant to do. She said, and ever since that experience, that is exactly what I knew I wanted to do, ever since 5th grade. The other young lady, we kept walking. She said, I worked in that storefront. It was the EY storefront. She said, I was the CFO. And I said, really? Now, by the way, these are 2 young ladies from low-income schools, right? Of people, young ladies of color. And so she said, I was the CFO. And I said, well, tell me about it. And she said, I got to control all the money. So I loved my job. And I said, wow, that's amazing. And I said, well, how did that feel? Was it busy? She goes, actually, I thought it was better than the CEO job because it was more important. And I said, that's great. And I said, where are you going to school? And she said, I'm actually going to FAU and I'll be studying accounting. And I said, did it have anything? She said, yes, just like her. I knew I really liked the idea of controlling the money of a company. And I tell you those 2 stories. I could tell you hundreds, thousands more from 5th grade to 8th grade to high school. If we think that they can't be influenced and impacted at such an early age, and then you see our high school students just transforming over the year from a kid who can't put a sentence together, has no confidence, to a young person at the end of that 8 months who can tell their story for their company or present their business case challenge ideas. And you see it, you just think to yourself, that can't be the same kid. So you can tell I'm truly passionate because we see the impact that we're making on these students every single day. So that was BizTown. Now I'll take you into the 8th grade program, which is called JA Finance Park. 75% of that program is focused on career exploration. The research actually says that students only know 5 to 8 jobs that exist when they graduate high school. Usually their parents or something they've seen. Of course, every young man wants to be an NBA player, and they're all going to be social influencers and make millions of dollars. But now we're exposing them to all the different industries and careers right here in South Florida. And so every storefront in Finance Park is different. That represents an industry and the career pathways. So they're not running the town, but they are going from place to place, and they are doing activations. As I mentioned before, they go to the automotive storefront, which is Toyota, Southeast Toyota, and they are doing gaming on some stations and VR on other stations. If they go to NSU, they are doing a scavenger hunt, a career scavenger hunt with avatars using AI. If they go to Publix, right, these are the 3 we're piloting. They're on a platform and they're interviewing for Publix jobs with avatars. So we're really trying to bring it around, because if you have an 8th grader or a middle schooler, you know how hard it is to engage them. We have to bring technology in to some degree for them. So that's what they're doing. And then after they do their career exploration, they say, oh, okay, I want to be a automotive salesperson. They put that in.
And Lori, we have about one more minute,
Okay.
and then yeah.
And then they just manage their budget for the rest of the time.
All right,
And I already described high school, so we're good.
no, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Great, great presentation. I think everyone learned a lot about what you guys do. I didn't know about JA World. That's actually pretty cool. I might contact you for that just to see what that's all about. And I really appreciate
the meeting for you anytime.
All right, awesome. And I really appreciate everyone for participating. We had 5 amazing organizations. Everyone does their part in building our community, and YPO's got some tough decisions to make on the voting. But I think that, as I stated before, there's going to be members of our organization that are going to reach out to all 5 of these great organizations here and just do their individual part if not selected for our chapter itself. So I appreciate it, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Great
care.
speaking to you all this morning. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a great one.
Thanks, you too.